Welcome back, all you fantastic football fanatic freakazoid fans. I remember this time I'm your host, Adrian.
I'm your host, Chris.
And welcome back to another episode of Point After Podcast. And man, what a weekend it has been. Some controversy, some good games.
Some bad games.
Some unfortunate tales of the Eagles winning another game they shouldn't have. And we're going to be here to break it all down for you.
We're here to talk about it.
Here, well, that deserves a pin. There we go. Congratulations on being first.
If you're not first, you're last.
If you're not first, you're last. That's correct. All right.
Yeah, we're back at it. The rust is gone. When we're in playoff mode. We're in playoff form. This is when heroes are made. This is when legends are made.
Legends are made. Flags are thrown, and hearts are broken.
For real. 4 teams had their hearts broken this week.
And millions of fans.
That's playoff football, baby.
Playoffs. Never heard of them.
Playoffs? You're talking about the playoffs?
Yeah. Well, hey, at least my team went to the playoffs last year, so
let's go.
That's more than can be said for some other teams out there.
Yeah.
But there are some teams this season that did make it to the playoffs that haven't seen the playoffs in a long time. Denver Broncos.
Yeah, I think this is their first playoff season since their Super Bowl season, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think since like 2013 or something like that.
16, I think.
16.
But hey, I mean that's a long time.
Let's see. I think that's the only one that like kind of ended like a big drought.
I would say the Commanders ended a pretty big drought. It wasn't necessarily a playoff drought, even though they hadn't been in the playoffs for a while as well. But they ended, I think, a significantly.
Whoa! We got a lot to talk about on that game,
but
and you're rushing the gun. That's our that's second on the agenda here.
Right, I'm false starting here, but it's a little palate teaser.
Okay, now that you bring up the false start, it's kind of fitting because this actually is the first game on the list. You ready to get into it?
I'm ready.
All right, the first game we had for the divisional round of this playoff season was the Houston Texans at the Kansas City Chiefs. And, oh boy, if you did not watch this game, I implore you to just not watch it if you value not being angry at football.
Yeah, save yourself the sanity. And, if you still want to, enjoy football and have the, keep the cloth covered over your eyes that the game is real, that football is a real, not fixed and not scripted sport, then don't watch this game, and you can continue to live in La La Land.
Yeah, at least wrestling is upfront about being fake.
Yeah, that's the official take of this podcast. But where to start with this one? I mean,
well, we can start off with the score and the box stuff before we get into the down and dirty. We have the Houston Texans at the Kansas City Chiefs. Texans lost 14-23. Let's see here. CJ Stroud went 19 for 28, 245 yards. Patrick Mahomes went 16 for 25, 177 yards with 1 touchdown. Overall, the Texans outplayed the Kansas City Chiefs almost the entire game in almost every category. They had 336 total yards to Kansas City's 212. Just overall, we're talking 186 passing yards to 162, 149 on the ground to 50 rushing yards from Kansas City.
That's crazy.
5.2 to 4.2 yards per play, 18 first downs to 14, 10 for 17 on third down to instead of 4 to 11, which I mean, I guess you can argue, well, you didn't have to be into third down territory that often, right?
Right.
The only 65 plays to 50 plays. They did sack CJ Stroud 8 times, but they did also sack what's his name, Patrick Mahomes 3 times, which is unheard of in today's NFL.
Yeah, for real. I mean, the Chiefs' defense, especially their pass rush, is definitely good, but that Texans O-line is Swiss cheese, man. Like, I mean, it's the same thing we've been talking about this whole season. Like, Stroud just kind of had I don't even want to call it a sophomore slump, but like, he just wasn't as good this year because of the fact that he was just running for his life every single play. And like, you really saw that in this game. Like, there's so many times where some dude would just come off the edge, just completely, unblocked, and just like immediately get Stroud. And other times, like, the entire O-line would just break down, and it's just like, oh, poor guy. Like, what can he do? Despite that, I still think he had a pretty like solid game.
I mean, yeah, obviously, being able to just outthrow Patrick Mahomes and I'm not gonna like say like manage as in like a game manager, but just overall like manage to like play the game efficiently and just outgain your opponent multiple times is just it's a good thing, especially this is only his second year, and do note that in his first year he also made it to the divisional round where he lost to the Kansas City Chiefs. So consistency is key.
Yeah.
But there's a few things that happened in this game, some sillies. For starters, obviously 8 sacks, right? You know what else? 8 penalties on the Texans for a total of 82 yards. More on that in just a little bit. There were no turnovers. However, there was 2 or 3 missed field goals.
Yeah. Jaime Fairbairn did not have a good day.
He did not. He missed 2, and I think 1 was blocked.
Yes, one was blocked, which, like, not really his fault. But yes, he did just straight up miss 2.
Which, okay, you're like, 6 points, that could have been 22-23. It does make a pretty significant difference, but not as much as, in my opinion, the penalties. And I'm a big believer in like momentum and home crowd, that kind of stuff,
Yeah, definitely.
And it was early in the game. Sorry if I'm closing my eyes. I'm trying to remember. It's been almost it's been like 5 days since I've watched this game. Let's see. It was the first quarter. Both teams were 3-3. Chiefs had the ball on like their 20, I want to say, if not less, or maybe it was behind the 30. I can tell you that, right? Confidently.
Right.
And it was like a 3rd and like long, 3rd and 12, something like that. And the Houston defense was looking to shape up or put the Kansas City Chiefs, with a very fast and easy 3-and-out.
Deep in their own territory.
Yeah, deep in their own territory. Actually, before that, it was 2nd in like medium.
Uh-huh.
And what's his name? I think his name is. I'm gonna look it up actually. Defense, because I want to call this player out by name.
I think it's Will Anderson. If it's the play I think you're talking about.
No, it was the play before the Kansas City Chiefs. No, what's their offense? I think. This matters a lot. Trust me.
I believe.
I know his number. Jawan Taylor, number 74.
Jawan Taylor.
I almost said Jawan Jennings. That is not his name. Jawan Taylor is his name. And if you don't recognize that name and number, it's the guy that's always jumping, false starting, like every play that they never flag.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was listening to the game, and they threw a flag on like second down on that guy for false starting, puts him back 5 yards, and I was laughing. I'm like, hell yeah, we're gonna get a decently called game for once against the Chiefs, you know?
Right.
Like they never throw a flag on this guy, and they finally got him. And then immediately it's like third down, third and long, and they throw some laundry after Patrick Mahomes throws an incomplete pass. It would have been fourth and long, and deep in their own territory. And they throw a flag. I'm like, oh, geez, what did they throw the flag for? Unnecessary roughness, roughing the passer or whatever. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down. And you look at the play, and it was like, was it a little high? Yeah, but it was like chest to chest, if you want to call that like high. There was no contact. No helmets were ever touched. And it was just like, it was literally a chest bump, Mahomes wasn't like thrown to the ground. Nobody threw their weight on him. Mahomes was able to got pushed back, 2 feet about, if even. And even, the announcers were like, yeah, there's not enough there to draw a flag. The rules analyst was like, yeah, there's nothing there. And refs could always throw the flag, discuss it, and then choose to pick up the flag. And they didn't, even after like reviewing the play and everything.
They rode with it.
They rode with it. And it's just like, really, man? Okay. Super soft call. Like, not even soft, just awful call. Like, straight up, like, if everyone watching it is like, that should not be a flag. They should be picking it up. Like, who are you protecting? Like, really, who are you protecting? I could understand if it was a helmet to helmet, or if he landed his weight on top of Patrick Mahomes, then okay, yeah, sure, throw the flag, whatever. I hate that, but do it. But that was nothing, and we're throwing flags for that, and it's frustrating to see that. And back to what I was saying when I went on this big yapping rant, it was 3-3. If you get that early stop, you get the ball back. I'm not saying it makes a big difference, like, because at the end of the day, Texans could have gone 3 and out. CJ Stroud could have gotten sacked or whatever, turnover. But let's say, hypothetically speaking, the Texans even scored 3 points, they would have been up 6-3. And when your team is losing, even if you're the home crowd, the crowd starts to quiet down a lot, and you've experienced a live football game, and you even know, like, well, even on
it's the vibes.
Just the vibes. If once they start dying, it is really hard to get them up unless something big and exciting happens.
Yeah, definitely.
And,
I mean, not only that, it's like the Chiefs also scored a field goal on that drive, which, like, they ended up winning this game by more than 3 points. But, like, still, that was like 3 additional points on the board that were kind of only there because of a fraudulent penalty being called.
So,
and it's just like, when I first saw that happen, when that drive ended and they got the field goal, I was like, dude, they better not win this game by 3 points. And
they didn't.
They didn't. They did not win this game by 3 points.
And then later on, the second roughing the passer penalty. Do you know more about that one? Because I didn't see it. I listened to it on the radio.
It's the one where he slid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this was the most egregious roughing the passer call I've seen in my entire life.
Take it away, Chris.
Absolutely ridiculous. So first of all, Mahomes runs, standard Mahomes stuff. He'll just take off once in a while, especially more in the playoffs, as the announcers love to remind you every time he does it.
The Mahomes magic.
the Mahomes magic, and then he gets to these two Texans defenders, and he almost like hesitates. He hesitates and slides super late, and they're both like are diving towards him because like you still have to like make contact while he's sliding, I believe, when he gives himself up to like officially like make him down.
No, if you slide, like if you give yourself up, you don't have to be touched.
Okay, never mind then. Well, the point is they still dive because they're running towards him. They don't want to kill him while he's sliding. And they miss him entirely. Because usually when that roughing the passer happens, or like unnecessary, actually, it's an unnecessary roughness, but when that usually happens on a player sliding, it's because like a defender can't stop his momentum and he goes over and he hits the player's helmet. And that is going to get called.
That's usually what it is.
Yeah. And that's what it looked like. Because like when it first happened and the two of the players went over him and the flag flip was like, oh, okay. They hit his head. I mean, whatever you think.
Yeah, they crumped him, like sandwiched him.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, whatever, fine. But then if you look at the replay, which like this is what everyone's been talking about, they don't touch his head.
They don't touch him at all.
Hit each other. The players hit each other's heads. And they reviewed it, and it was a penalty anyways. And even the announcers, I think it was Troy Aikman and Joe Buck calling this game, even they were like, this is ridiculous. We've never seen anything like this. This was like clearly not an unnecessary roughness in any way. And
right, and like he already had passed the line of scrimmage, so at that point he was completely a runner. And I mean, he started sliding, within arm's length of two defenders, on
he slid late.
End.
He slid very late. And yeah, I don't know. Like this is just like that's we make all these memes and jokes about like the league helping the Chiefs, but it's like this is just the most blatant example of like Mahomes getting a crazy call in his favor. And like everyone just immediately knew is complete BS too. Like there's no masking it. There's no like possible like plausible deniability of like, oh, maybe it could have been this, maybe it could have been XYZ. It's just like no, this is a horrible call, like objectively. And yeah, it ended up not having a super huge bearing on the game. But the next one might. That's all I gotta say. It's just like
right. I mean, I think that the first one had a bigger bearing on the game than the second one did. I don't remember when the second fraudulent call happened, but that being said, defenders of Kansas City, fans and whatever. What else they have? Swifties.
Yeah, Swifties.
Are on the internet and they're like laughing at people who are saying refs are literally bailing out the Chiefs at this point. They're laughing and they're like, oh, so the refs were the ones that like missed 2 field goals and sacked CJ 8 times. Like, no, obviously, like if you're like playing like that, sorry. If you're speaking like that, you're like, oh, the refs weren't the ones actually playing the game. You're completely missing the whole point of why people are saying the game is being handed to the Chiefs from the refs. The second penalty probably, wasn't going to change the game, I don't think, but that first penalty definitely did. And look, personally, at the end of the day, I don't think that the Texans would have won, even if they wouldn't have gotten heckled over by the bad calls that the refs were calling. I think Kansas City has the talent enough there to beat the Texans by like 2 points.
Yeah, for sure.
On their own. But it's just frustrating to see this kind of like officiating being called in favor of like the same team over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And it's like they know, the players know, and at the end, we're going to see like Patrick Mahomes in the Hall of Fame, Chiefs dynasty, whatever. and all we're gonna ever remember of it is like the super favorable calls. And people like to talk about Tom Brady being the GOAT and whatever. I understand that Tom Brady also had a lot of favorable calls and got bailed out by the refs, a lot throughout his very long career. But did you know that Patrick Mahomes has more interceptions reversed from penalties than in his short time as a Kansas City Chief? Well, not that short, but you get what I'm saying. Than Tom Brady has ever had in his entire career.
That's crazy. I did not know that.
Yeah. I think it's like 17 picks reversed to 18.
Wow.
Yeah.
18 and counting.
18 and counting. Yeah, I know. And
yeah, I don't know. Like it sucks, and it's like at the end of the day, because the Texans have played better, sure, but it's just like it's so demoralizing to just see that happen. And like you said, the players know too. Like there were several interviews. I think Joe Mixon was asked about it, and he was like, "Yeah, we all know. Like we all know. Like the refs are not gonna we're not gonna be getting any help from them when we play.
We know it's us versus the refs.
Yeah.
But not only that, like look at your name today is Big Floppa. Want to explain why?
Yeah, it's just because like Mahomes has blatantly been flopping on these roughing the passers as well. It's not like he's innocent in this. It's not like the refs are just choosing to
throw flags
without any of his input. Like he's going around like flopping on these hits too, and yeah, he's just like he'll get hit and he'll just go like whoa and just like fall back and then.
But Josh Allen also does the same.
Josh Allen does do that too. Josh Allen does do it a lot as well.
But at the end of the day,
I've never seen Mahomes truck anyone though. So
that's true. I wanted to say that you could also like say, oh well, I'm not going to blame the players if if a ref throws a flag, let's say like a PI, right? When it was kind of sketchy already. What do you want the players to do? Tell the coach, hey coach, he actually didn't hold me, decline the penalty. Like what do you like? Obviously no, like
you don't take
understandably take the freebies when and where you can. I'm not going to fault you for that, but if you're flopping to draw those penalties 1000% every time, the fans will know. And that's all people are going to continue to remember you by. They're not like they're going to say, "Oh yeah, 5 rings," but
yeah, exactly. But the evil empire moves on, and did you know that throughout their entire short existence, at least this iteration of the Houston Texans has never seen a AFC Championship game?
The Texans have never seen an AFC Championship game ever?
This current Texans franchise, yes. I don't know about the one that...
Oh, like the Oilers, you mean?
Yeah, I don't know about the Oilers.
Why'd you say Texans then? Why wouldn't
I forgot
it would have made sense to say Houston?
I forgot they were the Oilers. I thought they were the Texans because there was another Dallas Texans team.
Was there really?
Or there was a Dallas Texans team.
Oh, yeah, Dallas pretty sure. Texans.
I'm pretty sure there was, but I don't know if like the franchise formerly known as the Oilers, now known as the Titans. I think obviously, yeah, they have been to an AFC Championship game.
The Dallas Texans was a team in the NFC.
Mm-hmm. So they've never seen an AFC Championship game either.
Let's see. Assets and players became the Baltimore Colts.
Oh, okay, they became the Baltimore Colts, which became the Indianapolis Colts.
Correct. So they went from being an NFC to an AFC team.
This is true. But yeah, my main point is like this franchise, this Texans franchise, which like, still not that old. Like they've only been around since the 90s. But yeah, still no conference championship games. And That makes me feel a little better.
That makes you feel a little bit better?
Yeah.
I disagree.
Really?
I mean, they've been this close 2 years in a row.
Wow, that makes me feel a bit better about my own team because we're gonna have to talk about another streak.
All right, okay. So, that's all I got on this game.
Yeah. Yeah, now, nice try, Texans.
Nice try. Better luck next year. Yeah, I know, it is what it is. Okay, now this next game. This was a game. And I know fans want to hear about it. And that, you know what? I'm going to say it. NFC Beast.
The NFC Beast strikes again.
We had the Washington Commanders at the Detroit Lions. Washington won 45-31. Jaden Daniels. Wow. 22 for 31, 299 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jared Goff went 23 for 40, 313 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. Overall, total yards 481 to 521.
Yeah, dude.
We had over 1,000 yards played in this football game.
Who was expecting this outcome? Nobody. Don't you say it.
Whoa.
Don't you say it. And chat, don't say it either.
Hold on. Expecting this outcome? Not exactly. But I did expect this game to just be like 2 people putting their foot down on the gas, no brakes, just straight going fast down the road, and whoever's engine exploded first was going to lose.
Yeah.
That's what I expected this game to be. That's what we got. And unfortunately, I really thought that the team that was going to just get 50 points was the Detroit Lions, right?
Yeah. And yeah, I feel bad, dude. I feel like we kind of jinxed Jared Goff. Remember on Wednesday after we recorded at your place, we were talking to your dad, and we were like, yeah, Jared Goff is really turned his career around. He's pretty legit in Detroit, and because we were talking about Ben Johnson. And we were like, oh yeah, dude, he should get a lot of credit for fixing Jared Goff because he's very legit now. And then
I'm still gonna say that Jared Goff is legit. Yeah, he had 3 interceptions, but
he had a bad game.
He just had a bad game, and it happens. Yeah. This is not the game to have. This was not the right time to have a bad game. And he did, because remember, he had another game earlier this season against the Texans where he threw 5 interceptions. They still did win, right? But ultimately, 3 interceptions is really bad, right? But this comes down to show you that this is what happens when your team is so injured on defense that you're picking fans. You're essentially grabbing fans out of the stand, putting on a jersey, and saying, "Hey, dude, just block the ball."
Yeah,
that's hyperbolic. They weren't actually doing that, but Washington punted 1 time this entire game.
They were able to get by most of the season without those injuries really affecting them, but yeah, it just came time to pay the piper in a way this game, because it was just they really got exposed on defense. Their just lack of there's nothing they can do. It's not like they did anything wrong. It's just they had so many injuries that the Commanders were just picking them apart on offense, and they couldn't stop them. You're right. Yeah, they only punted once, and every drive they were just putting up points, and it's hard to beat a team when they're doing that. And that was the main. Goff did have a bad game, But like this is probably the main killer for Detroit. Just like their defense was so banged up, and like it finally just kind of imploded.
Goff threw 3 picks, but they tried doing a trick play, I believe, where
Jameson Williams.
Jameson Williams. He threw an interception. I think that was a pick 6, or was it one of Goff's pick 6s?
No, Goff's was a pick 6.
Goff was pick 6. Yeah. Okay.
Which like that was also like another yikes moment. Trying to get, I mean, you know, Dan Campbell's known for like getting crazy with it and like having a trick play, but like that was in such a crucial spot to do it, and letting like, you know, a wide receiver just throw the ball down the field like that. It's such a crucial moment.
Hey, David Montgomery had a 1 pass for 20 yards.
That's true. That is true. So sometimes the gamble pays off. Also, lots of going for it on 4th down, which, you know, I love to see. It's just so much more entertaining.
There was 6 4th down tries this game. 4 from Washington, 2 from Detroit.
Nice. Love to see it. Love to see some aggressiveness. And yeah, wow. This is like what an upset.
What was this, like the 5th seed versus the 1 seed?
No, I think Washington was like the...
Oh, Washington's the 6th seed.
Oh, the 6th? Dang.
Yeah.
Dang, son.
Because Minnesota was the 5th seed.
Yeah, wow. So, what a horrible, like, soul-crushing way for, like, probably the most magical season in Lions history.
14-2, number 1 seed.
Number 1 seed. Just such an underdog team finally like figuring it out. And like everyone was rooting for them too. Everyone's like, we want the Lions to go to the Super Bowl. It's like finally like working out for them just to go one and done.
That's rough. Let's talk about the big streak here. The Washington Commanders are now making it to the NFC conference game for the first time in 30 years.
Crazy. Last time was 1991, which that was the year they won the Super Bowl that year.
And also, with that, the Dallas Cowboys are the last team in the NFC to reach the conference champion since the new millennia.
Yep. How about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys? And look, you know, should I be embarrassed? Yes, but at the same time, I'm so glad that this is happening to them, because I want them to, you know, I want Jerry Jones to like be like, shucks, you know, this is purely because I let this happen. I created this, you know, mess. I thought that I could, you know, be the GM and owner and quarterback and wide receiver and edge rusher of this team on my own. And look, congratulations, Jerry. This is what you get, you know? Look, Dan Snyder sells the team. The following season, Washington's in the conference championship game. I'm just saying that I couldn't be happier. You know, if this makes Jerry Jones toss and turn at night knowing that he's a clown, absolutely. I'd rather see the Giants beat us, you know, Thanksgiving, you know, 60-2. If that's what it makes, you know, take for Jerry Jones to just get a grip on reality.
I would agree with you, except unfortunately, I don't think Jerry Jones cares about winning. I think he'll just go like, oh, shucks, my infinite money glitch is also a bad football team.
The next check I want him to write is a reality check for himself, and it gets overdrawn.
With this fact and this like streak coming to attention and some other news about who the team might be hiring as their head coach, I think morale has got to be close to an all-time low. It's just so Jover. It's just beyond Jover.
A little bit more that I'd like to say about this matchup, or just like outcomes and stuff. Again, I want to reiterate, NFC Beast. Spoilers, Philadelphia won, which means we're going to have Philadelphia versus Washington face off each other in the NFC title game, which means we have two NFC East teams playing for a chance to get to the Super Bowl. Meanwhile, everyone was saying that the strongest division in the entire NFL was the NFC North, because you had you had Detroit, Minnesota, and Green Bay, who were very dominant. I mean, at least Minnesota and Detroit had very dominant, great,
and Green Bay was a 10-win team as well.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is Detroit went 14-2. Minnesota was what? 13-3?
13 No, were they both?
They were 13-3 in the regular season.
There's 18 games or 17 games. So
17. Wait, because Detroit was 14-2, or were they?
I think they're 15-2.
Oh, they were 15-2.
Vikings were 14-3, which still both very good records. Yeah,
excellent records. And then you have the 7th seed being the Packers with 10 plus, or with at least 10 wins, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone was saying, "Oh, NFC North." One and done candidates. Yeah, we got the NFC Beast playing for the Super Bowl right now.
Yeah, the NFC North did not win a single game in the playoffs this year. So, good job.
Your winner.
Regular season champions.
Also, last thing I want to say is Detroit Lions are losing just personnel, staff, left and right. They lost Ben Johnson to the Bears.
Great hire for them, by the way. And then they lost Aaron Glenn today. They just came out today that he's going to the Jets.
Yeah, that's right.
Which he's a good. Aaron Glenn's one of those dudes where I think he's a good defensive coordinator, but I don't know how good of a head coach he's going to be. And he's going to have to deal with that situation. I don't know. I don't know if that's a fixable situation.
I mean, it's the Bears. The Bears are...
No, that's the Jets guy. Aaron Glenn is the Jets
guy. Oh, sorry. I thought we were talking about Ben Johnson still.
No. Ben Johnson, I think, that's a great hire for the Bears because, dude, just let him work with Caleb Williams. I'm excited for that.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's feeling like it's Jover, like the sky is falling for Detroit. This is how your season ends, just heartbreaking fashion. One and done after getting, the number 1 seed, winning your division, all of this, and now you're just losing personnel.
Yep.
And are we gonna see the Detroit Lions just crash and continue to burn for the following season? I'd say there's a good chance.
No,
I'd say there's a good chance.
Because they're going to have a lot of players coming back from injury. Mainly Aiden Hutchinson's going to be back, who they didn't have for a majority of the season anyways this year. So I think that's going to be a big difference. Dan Campbell's still a good coach. They still have a great offense. Still have a good O-line. That would be the most Detroit thing ever, though, if they just go back to being a basement dweller.
Yeah, but you have to remember when you get new personnel, new staff, new changes, maybe the players don't click with that scheme immediately. I mean, look at Dallas. We lost Dan Quinn, and there was so much talent on the defense from 2023, and now in 2024 we got a new defensive coordinator, and nobody was clicking until the final 4 weeks of the season.
That is true. It can take some adjustments, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I still think they're too stacked to just be complete trash.
That's how I feel about the Dallas Cowboys, but look where it got us.
I mean, that's also a clown show.
Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate you.
Anything else you'd like to add about this game?
No, that's about it.
All right. Our next game, we had the Los Angeles Rams at the Philadelphia Eagles.
Can't keep getting away with it.
Rams lost 22-28. Matthew Stafford went 26 for 44, 324 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts 15 for 20, 128 yards. Overall, 402 yards from the Rams to the 350 by the Eagles. By the way, every team that won this week had less yards than their opponent.
Interesting.
Yeah. Kansas City was outgained by Houston. Washington was outgained by Detroit. And the Rams outgained Philadelphia. Oh, and then, the final game, Buffalo was outgained by Baltimore. And yet all those teams won despite being outgained. Which, that stat of just like losing or winning, even though your opponent outgained you, is just, such a Philadelphia Eagles kind of like game.
I know.
Like,
they looked like crap, dude. Like,
yeah, I'm expecting to see Jalen Hurts throw for like 124 yards, this weekend.
Yeah, even if Saquon had a good game. I mean, it's impossible to
great game,
But a lot of them were like it's skewed by like a lot of big runs, which that's part of it. Obviously, like not most people can get those big runs, but he was getting stopped on a lot of there's a lot of plays where you're just getting 1 or 2 yards, just going straight back to the line of scrimmage, and that's when the Rams were really dominating the most on defense because there was a minute, not like an actual minute, but a short time where they had the run game locked down, and then Hurts just couldn't do anything because he's Jalen Hurts, and yeah, I don't know. This was I feel like it was just like last week. Like the Eagles just played down to their opponent and just still won because their opponents. I mean, we both agree that the Packers are trash, are kind of fraudulent, and I know we kind of disagreed on the Rams, but I wouldn't say they're in the top half of NFC teams in the playoffs, and now the Eagles completely avoid playing the 1 seed since Detroit choked against the Commanders. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, they just still haven't played a legit other contender yet in the playoffs. And they've looked really bad against these kind of so-so. I mean, not so-so. I mean, they're in the playoffs, but, not upper tier, not upper echelon teams.
I'm going to...
So,
no, continue.
No, that's it.
Oh, I'm going to tell you why, the real reason why Philadelphia won this game, okay?
What's up?
All right. So we already knew going into this that Philadelphia is the Saquon Barkley show, right? They lean into Barkley, and I'm not going to blame him for that. Stick to what you're good at. If Barkley is being controlled by a cracked out Madden player, then sure, go ahead, hand him the ball, right? Stick to it. That being said, this game was super snowed in. The field was just a blanket of white, and it's very hard to pass the ball in bad weather. If it's raining or snowing, passing the ball is just kind of it's just significantly harder to do big plays. And it puts a lot of pressure on the O-line. Your pass protection has to be even better. So now you got like linebackers, being able to blitz more often, right? Mm-hmm. And so offensively, you lean into the run game in bad weather. And I mean, that just favors Saquon Barkley. I mean, like, yeah, he works really well with that Philly O-line. And, it's it's perfect weather conditions to just like have an excuse to not throw the ball even more. Meanwhile, I'm not saying Kyren Williams is bad. I think he's, a very good runner, right? But he's nowhere near Saquon Barkley. And the O-line for the Rams is also nowhere near as good as the Philadelphia Eagles O-line. So those big chunk plays on running were just not happening for Los Angeles. And that is a huge reason.
Keep going. What? Keep going. I got to let my dog out.
Yeah, go for it. And so, that's a huge reason why Philadelphia just had a major advantage in this game, as opposed to the Rams. They just had a better run game with Barkley, and they were able to lean into that because of the weather. And ultimately, I think it's very telling when you have such a huge advantage, not only home field, but just like, the weather advantage working for you, and you only win by 6. I mean, that's sorry. That's so sorry.
Yeah.
And the Rams had the ball to like try to push to win the game, and they did it. They couldn't.
Stafford threw a pick to end the game, but
he didn't throw a pick because he has no interceptions.
Oh, I thought he did.
No, I thought he did as well, but no, that was what game was it that ended with a pick? I don't remember.
I don't remember either. But
maybe it was last week.
It might have been, yeah. But yeah, one thing I do want to highlight though is that Stafford played like incredibly well in this snow game, dude. Like I go back and forth on him on whether or not he's washed.
It's hard to tell because he'll play a game where he can score like 40 some points against the Bills, 22 points, he can throw for close to 300 yards in the snow. But then, like, he'll also lead his team to score, like, 3 points against the Niners.
Yeah, it's so weird. I don't know why that is, but he balled out in this game, especially in the snow, like where you said it's so hard to throw. Like, it did not matter to him. Like, he was hitting his guys. And, yeah, there are a lot of moments where it looked like the Eagles were going to, like, pull away, and then the Rams were just, like, staying in the game with them. And, they had Stafford had the ball in his hands with about like 2 minutes left and just barely couldn't get it done. Just barely
turnover on downs, I think is what it was.
Yeah, took it all the way to the red zone, and just they had to score a touchdown. I just could not get it done, which is unfortunate.
He took a sack on 3rd down, made it basically like 4th and too long.
Yeah, and they just couldn't get it done.
Yeah.
But, they were so close. They were so close.
I want to point out that Jalen Hurts got sacked 7 times.
How did you get sacked that many times with that O-line?
I don't know. So,
and the Rams don't even have Aaron Donald anymore.
I want to point out that like a lot of people were like saying, oh, well, the Rams, they had 9 sacks because they played against Sam Darnold. I mean, 7 sacks against this Philly, O-line, that's incredible.
That's pretty legit.
I mean, on a losing effort, that is the defense of the week right there.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. And like I said, like, it's impossible to stop Saquon, but they did a pretty okay job at not letting him completely run all over them. He did have 2 massive plays, like those 2 giant runs and that touchdown, and still like a good amount of yards, which like, that's to be expected, but I think they did a good job at least somewhat containing him. But
I guess. I mean, he still got over 200 rushing yards, but
yeah. But I mean, that's on a lot of attempts, to be fair.
It's still like, I mean, it still averages like 10 yards a carry.
No, it's not. There's no way it's 10 yards per carry.
Let's see. If
7.9,
26, 26 divided 205 divided by 26.
7.9.
Okay. 7.9.
That's pretty high.
That is very good. Anything else you'd like to add about this game?
Yeah, the Eagles are still fraudulent, I think.
And... You'll get exposed in the NFC conference game.
Yeah, they're going to get exposed soon. Don't worry.
All right, final game of the divisional matchup. This was the game that everybody was waiting for.
Yeah.
And Sunday it disappointed.
Night. You think it disappointed?
It disappointed me. Yes, I was disappointed. I think that I had a much better time watching Washington and Detroit play than Baltimore and Buffalo.
Really? But this game was closer.
Doesn't matter. I mean, one game was, to the wall, just offense only, no defense, like stay down, stay on the field, linebacker, or stay on the bench linebackers, the best defense is a better offense.
That's crazy.
I mean,
that's what the people want to see.
I mean, you put in Jameis Winston for a trick play, Detroit.
Yeah.
That's what I'm here to see,
That's what the people want.
It won't necessarily win you games, though, so understandable. But anyway, we had the Baltimore Ravens at the Buffalo Bills. Ravens lost 25-27. Lamar Jackson went 18 for 25, 254 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Josh Allen went 16 for 22, 127 yards, no touchdowns. This is probably like...
He had 2 rushing touchdowns.
Did he have 2 rushing touchdowns? Yeah. Did he Superman?
He did Superman 1.
Okay,
he just bulldozed some dudes to get in.
Yeah, okay. I was about to say, that's kind of underwhelming from Josh Allen, not for throwing no touchdowns, but never mind, he had 2 running touchdowns. So I want to point out the total yards again. 416 yards to 273.
Crazy. What's going on?
Yeah. There was an early fumble and a pick thrown early in the game from Baltimore that just let Buffalo, capitalize on those mistakes and just run away with it in the first half. Like this, the game was looking Jover by halftime.
But the Ravens played what I think was like one of the best, like most complete halves of football in that we've seen from them this season in the second half. I feel like they just did everything right. They stuck with what was working. And because like a lot of the times people say like don't run the ball when you're down, but they were seeing so much success with like there's a point in like the third quarter, it was in the third quarter, where like they were just getting whatever they wanted. We're just switching up between Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson running it, and it got them back into the game. And I don't know. I feel like they did everything right, and they just got really unlucky.
I disagree with you. Earlier this season, I told you that every game that Derrick Henry has had 22 or more carries, they've won. But every game where he's had 21 or less carries, they've lost. They only gave the ball 16 times to Derrick Henry.
That is rough.
It's a weird stat. I know it's really weird, but it's true. It doesn't sound real.
That is like a suspiciously low amount of carries. I thought he ran it more. Because like they were running it a ton in the second half. And Jackson was also passing pretty well. That's like one thing of his I've always been very critical, that like he can't be a pure passer, but like he was hitting his passes and like they were moving the ball. And he even like when it came down to it,
he clutched up.
He didn't do anything wrong. Jackson, that was probably like the best game of his playoff career. He threw a pick.
He threw a pick.
He did throw, and that was a bad pick, but that was like part of their ugly first half. So it is what it is there.
I'm not going to say that he is, what's the word I'm looking for? Just guilt-free in their loss, He's not immune to criticism. A lot of people are, not faulting Lamar Jackson, but at the end of the day, he threw that early game pick, which gave Buffalo the ability to
they didn't really hold.
Yeah, but it's still like, remember, you're the home crowd. You gain that momentum of just like, look, again, it's really hard to come from behind with the home crowd screaming that loud, you know? And
that's true. But when he needed to though, he hit like the most crucial throws. He made that like crazy awesome like touchdown throw in the fourth quarter, and the game ended up being undone by two crucial drops. Well, one drop and one just bizarre fumble.
oh no, you watch that fumble again. If you look, that dude just punches it right out of his arms. That
He did punch it out.
It was a
but, like,
great
you have
single
to
individual
You're
effort.
a tight end. You're giant tight end. You're letting this little DB like punch it out of you. Like, you got to secure that ball.
That was such a great like singular effort. Like, that's the kind of stuff that I miss seeing out of DeMarvius Overshown. I know like he didn't punch the ball, but like, remember in Thanksgiving where he just blasts away that O lineman, tips the ball, and then catches it for a pick six.
That was awesome.
That was so
cool. Incredible play.
And that's, I saw this play where he just punches the ball out of Mark Andrews' hands. I'm like, dang!
Well, wasn't there another fumble where someone just slipped out of someone's hands?
That was the first fumble. I didn't see that one.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the second half fumble.
Okay. I think I got them mixed up.
Oh, really?
But yeah. But there's that fumble, which is like insanely crucial, and then of course Mark Andrews. Again, another great pass by Lamar. He got it to him. He found this open man and got to him what should have been a successful 2-point conversion after scoring that touchdown, which would have made it 27-27. And Andrews just inexplicably drops it in the end zone.
Okay, well, timeout, because Baltimore, yeah, okay, they tie the game. If they went for an onside kick, which I doubt they would have, it still would have left Buffalo with a minute 30 to try to win.
Right, that's a lot of time on the clock, but it's better than just the auto loss of
this
dropping.
Is true. That is true, but it still wouldn't have been a guaranteed.
True, not a guarantee, but like you got to make that catch. And Mark Andrews right now is like the most wanted man in Baltimore.
Which, from what I've heard, based off of memes, right, not off of my personal experience, right, or opinion.
Yeah.
Baltimore is not a safe place to be.
Yeah, I've heard the same, but from the wire.
Yeah, so if that's true, Mark Andrews, I hope you're okay. Stay safe out there.
He's not in Baltimore. He's in Cancun right now. So
they didn't let him on the plane.
But yeah, I don't know. I've always been very critical of Lamar and the Ravens when it comes to the playoffs. And it's like, sure, could they have done different things better and like played better in the first half? Sure. But I feel like this is the best they've played in the playoffs and still kind of lost. Just due to like that. I think that fumble and then that just missed 2-point conversion were just the deciding factors. I mean, obviously the 2-point conversion was, but
the big factor.
The big factor, but yeah, I don't know. That just sucks. It wasn't like Lamar, like, completely choked like we've seen in the past,
like he did in last year's
in the AFC
playoff game. Yeah.
That
game was awful, dude.
That game was rough. I knew it was gonna happen though. I mean, I saw it coming a mile away, but
yeah, that game was sad. Oh.
But yeah, I think Mark Andrews is probably gonna get cut. You just can't come back after that, and
I still think he's a good tight end, but
he's a good tight end, but he's getting older, and his someone like sent me his contract, and there's a lot of like dead money they could.
Okay.
A lot of money they could get away from.
Fair enough.
So he, I think he'll definitely get picked up and be serviceable elsewhere, but I think this might have ended his days on the Ravens.
Anyway, anything else you want to add about this game? Because I don't have anything else.
He Bucknered it. He Bill Bucknered it.
I don't know who Bill Buckner is.
The first baseman on the '86 Red Sox. When all he had to do was just feel the ground ball, and they would have won the World Series. And it went through his legs.
You know what? Since you're talking about what's his name? he even a better reference because it's related or it's football related. Jackie Smith.
Jackie Smith.
Who also was a tight end. You don't know about Jackie Smith?
I don't think so. I'm getting exposed.
So Jackie Smith was a tight end for the Dallas Cowboys. It's Super Bowl 13. Dude is wide open. I mean, wide open, completely by himself in the end zone in the final, seconds of this game. Staubach throws the ball. Dude has it in his hands and just drops it.
That's rough.
Just like breaks for hands, just like claps, ball goes flying.
That would never be me.
That would never be you?
No.
Oh, that's so funny. I looked up the Jackie Smith drop, and I'm getting articles for Mark Andrews' drop.
Oh, my God. Yeah, dude. I mean, that's the crucial drop.
Yep. Twitter is also calling the Mark Andrews drop to look like the Jackie Smith drop.
Man, he is never going to live that down. That is like that. His entire career, no matter what he does from this point on, is going to be defined by that. Well, he could always join the Chiefs.
This is a really blurry picture. I'll send you like the video clip, but for now, I'll just send you this blurry picture so you can see what the drop looks like.
Yeah, I'm catching that.
Yeah, you would think, right?
That throw does look kind of low.
I mean, yeah, it's a little low, but he actually had it in the bucket, you know? Anyway, I'll send you the link as soon as we're done with this episode so you have a chance to watch it. But that's all I got. You got anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think that about covers it.
All right, let's get that music going, and we'll sign out. Oh, let me start it from the beginning, actually. All right, all you fantastic, fabulous football fanatic freakazoid fans. I've been your host, Adrian.
I've been your host, Chris.
And once again, thank you for watching. This has been another episode of Point After Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. We had another live stream. Sorry about last week. We didn't have a live stream. Chris decided to come over and film live. We're still trying to figure some stuff out. But we're glad to have everybody on our journey here. And
yeah,
it's kind of surreal that we've been doing this for over a year now.
I know. Yeah, because you started during the playoffs last year.
Well, right before, I think, like
right before the playoffs.
The week, not the final week, but the penultimate week of the regular season, I think, is when we started.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's kind of crazy. We're what a journey we've been on.
I know.
And
what a crazy journey it's been, and the places we'll go.
Yeah, one day we'll get that Patreon set up, and
y'all know what to do.
Yeah, y'all know what to do from there. All right, thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next segment before the point, where we will talk about this weekend's games. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.